What is going on, fellow web developers? My name is Tyler Potts, and in today's video we're going to be creating a tic-tac-toe game in vanilla JavaScript. So without further ado, let's head over to computer and get started. Okay guys, as you can see on screen we have a tic-tac-toe board. You can highlight over the one, so it's currently X's turn, so we can then select X in the top left, let's say, and then you can see it's got a little cursor saying we can't click here again, but we can now see O is ready to play, so let's slap in the O on the right here. Then we can say X goes in here, O goes there, you know, X tries to go here, O makes a mistake and places it there, and X goes there, and bam, as you can see it says X is the winner, restart, question mark. We can click OK and it will restart the game. So now we can say, okay, let's go for X, O, X, O, X, O, and O is the winner, restart. Okay, and now look what happens if there's a draw. So if there is a draw, you will see it goes, oh no, it's a draw, restart, question mark, and we click OK and we're back to restarting. So there you go. So that is what we're going to be creating in this video. It's a super fun, easy tutorial, but it also shows you a lot of the basics of JavaScript and how to actually do a lot of fun things. So guys, without further ado, let's get in to the code. Okay everyone, so as you can see here we have a new directory with 3 files in. We've created an index.html, a main.css and a main.js. Now the CSS has a couple of resets in the start, so you can see we've got just some colors in the root, some CSS variables here. If you don't know what they are, I definitely recommend checking them out, but if not, you can just follow along with this tutorial and everything should work fine. We've done a bit of resetting here to remove margin and padding. We've done some body work here just to make sure we've got a full height. A little header styles here, header H1 and a main tag here. Now we're going to be doing more styling, but I just wanted to add some primary ones in there so we wasn't spending too much time on it. We then have this empty main.js and an index.html file. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl-Alt-T in VS Code to open up the integrated terminal. The next thing I'm going to do is going to run live-server, but before I do that, I'm going to show you how to install it. So you need to have npm installed, and all live server does allow you to host your create a local server for your HTML files. So you can run npm i-g live server just like that, hit enter, and that will install the live server. Then you can run live server, hit enter, and it will create you a live server. As you can see, it's now started on the right, and if I start adding stuff here, so let's just rename this to tic-tac-toe and just saying test, save, it should automatically update on the right, although it's having trouble. Let's try this again. Let's reset and just say test, save. Oh, that's the same thing. Test 1, 2, 3, save. You can see it's automatically updating now. So let's close that. Now inside of here, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to link up our main.css here. So we've got our styling in. We can then add in just before the body our script source, which will be main.js. Now in our body, we're going to have a header. So this will be our header with a H1 where we're going to say tic-tac-toe, hit save, and the styling is already there for this, but I did show it off and you can also copy it if needs be. Let's go to our section. Now in main, we're going to have a section called board, which is going to have the ID of board. And then in here, we're going to have a bunch of diffs with the class of cell. Now we're going to create 9 of these. So in Emmet, we could do asterisk 9 to create 9 cells. Hit save. And if we refresh, you can see nothing's actually changed because we still need to do the CSS for that. So that is all the markup we need to do. So as you can see, it's very straightforward. We literally just have a header, tic-tac-toe. Now you don't have to have a header. You can or you can't. It's up to you. The only function area we actually need is this board here from this markup here. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So let's head into CSS and actually get a board on screen. So let's just Control-T, main CSS, and now in here you can see we've got these default styles, but underneath the main we're going to create our board. So we're going to say board display grid. So we're going to be using CSS grid, and to create some rows we're going to say, or some columns, we're going to say repeat free auto. So that's going to create a CSS grid with 3 rows per, or sorry, 3 columns per row, and it's going to automatically size them for us. We're then going to get our cell, and we're going to give it a position of relative because we're going to have some elements inside of it that are absolute. We're then going to give it a border of 1 pixel solid, and then we'll use the variable -- dark to grab our root dark color here. And as you can see, there's a tiny little speck on the screen there, but in the cell we then want to give it a width of 100 pixels,
hit save, you can see it's changed. And then we're going to do a trick here called padding top, and we're going to set that to 100%. And what padding top does is and 100%, the percentage is actually based on the width, so it will get 100% of the width of the width, meaning this should now be the exact same height and width, or each square will be the exact same size and width, making it a perfect square, which is just a nice little trick. But you can see we've got these outer edges here, and you can keep those. They're a nice feature, but we're going to remove them for this. So I'm just going to actually select the nth child, and we're going to go for 1. We're then going to copy, say 2, and copy again and say 3. Now I'm just going to put some commas in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the nth child, just grabs each element inside of this. So the first one of this, the first one of that, and the first one of that. Now in here, we're just going to say border top, and what we're going to say is none. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the top border. So let's grab the left now, which will be nth child 1, 4, and 7. And that should actually be border left. And there you go, with more design. So now let's do the same for the bottom. And this one will be 7, 8, and 9. And we're just going to say border bottom, none. And finally, let's go down. And this time it's going to be, we're going to have 3, 6, and 9 at border right of none. And there you go. There's our lovely looking grid. Now we can upgrade the border over here. We could say 2 pixels. We could even make it our primary color if we wanted to, but let's just stick with a dark 1 pixel. It makes it look sleek and nice. There we go. So now we've got the cell. But what happens once we actually start adding elements to ourselves? So let's say over here we're going to be adding classes to these. So when there's an X inside of this cell, we're going to have an X, and then when there's an O inside of this cell, we're going to have an O. And on top of that, whatever turn it is, we're going to have a class in here which says turn, and whichever it is. For now, we'll do an example of X. So let's just leave those classes in there. We're not supposed to leave them in there for the final thing, but for this, we're just going to do it for testing. So in our main CSS, at the bottom, I'm going to say cell.x after and cell.x before. Now in here, we're going to set content equal to nothing, so we can actually display the after and before pseudo elements. We're going to display it as block as well. We're going to give it a position of absolute, a top of 50%, a left of 50%, a width of around 10 pixels, and a height of 90 pixels. We're then going to give it a background color of far dark, and a border radius of 99 pixels to round out the edge. Now if we save, you'll see we've got this weird looking line here. There's actually 2 there, but they're on top of each other. So what we need to do is we need to grab one at a time. So we're going to grab the after, and what we're going to do in the after is we're just going to say transform, translate minus 50%, minus 50%. So if we hit save, you can see 1 has moved upwards now. And then we're going to say rotate by 45 degrees. So let's copy these now. So copy those, bring one up, and just call this one before. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put negative 45 degrees. And there you go. You can see we've now got a perfect X in the cell, which is nice. Let's also just quickly go cell.x and cell. Actually, wait, no, we don't need that yet. Sorry, my bad. What we need next is our O positioning. So what we're going to do is we're going to say cell.o, and we're going to do before. So we're just going to have a singular before here. We don't need an after for this one. We're going to do content. We're actually probably going to copy all of this and paste that in there. We're then also going to grab this bar the rotation, because we don't need a rotation. And then once we've got that, all we need to do is put in here width of 60 pixels, sorry, a height of 60 pixels. We're then going to have a border of 10 pixels, solid, and we're just going to put our far dark, save, and then you can see we've got a square in there, which isn't right, so let's give it a border radius of 50% to round it out. And there you go, you can see we've now got a circle which also matches up with our cross here. So there you go. But now we kind of want to have a hover effect. So when we hover, whoever's turn it is, we want to show whichever item inside of there. So to do that, we're just going to say, let's start off with X. We're going to say board.turn X. Let's just double check this on turn X. It is. We're just going to say cell, and we're just going to put hover. Oh, hover, and then we're going to do after. We're then going to do the exact same for before. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically copy out all of the stuff up here. We're going to pull it in there. Well, actually, in fact, we could make this a bit simpler, and we could copy this. We could pull it down below here. And then all we have to do inside of this one, I think that's right. Yep. Yep, so there we go. So all we have to do on hover, remove, oh, sorry, on that, all we have to do here is change the color to our gray. Sorry, I was getting confused with what I was saying. Gray, hit save. Now when we hover, we should see they're disappearing there. Now one issue is here, you're going to see a few issues here. You can see when we hover over this one, it changes too. Now the reason the issue is happening here is because we also have these two bits here. So what we need to do is for both of these, I need to just grab this, and we need to just comma like that. So now when we hover, you can see one's done, and secondly for the next one as well, for the after, we can do the same there. So now you should see we get a perfect X. Now one issue you're going to notice is when we hover over these, you can see it actually changes these, which we don't want to happen. What we actually want to happen is it to show a little cursor. But before that, we need to stop it from showing this. So to do that, we're going to use the not pseudo selector. So up inside of our board here, after our cell hover, which before it, sorry, we're just going to put not.x and not.o, meaning they don't have the X or the O class. Let's copy that and do the same on this one. Hit save, and now when we hover, you can see it changes there, but we can fix that in a second. But you can see here that it is now actually working. One issue is though, we actually don't have our color showing on this correctly. So what we want to do is grab the not, and we just want to pull it also inside of this one and this one, and also on our color of gray. So just before those. So save, and there you go. You can see we've now got our gray element here, and when we hover over these, it doesn't do anything. But you can also see it doesn't say we can't place one there, it just doesn't show the highlight. So to tell people you can't place one here, let's just go to the top. Let's just put .cell.x or cell.o, and all we're going to say is cursor, and we're going to say not allowed. Save, and as you can see, when we hover over these two, we get not allowed, but when we hover over any one, we get the default. So there you go. We could also go here and just do cell, well, up the top here at our cell. We could also give it a cursor of pointer, save. So when we hover over normal ones, we actually get a click event showing us we can click and then a not. So that's looking a lot better. Let's go back down to the bottom here. And now let's actually do our O hover. So if we go back to our index, we can say it's now O's turn. Hit save, and nothing's going to happen now. Nothing's going to show on the hover because we need to actually set that up. So to do the O hover, it's actually super simple again. We could do board. Well, actually, saying that, let's go back to our O display here. Let's just go here, say .cell hover, oh wait, .board .turn O cell hover. Now we could do all of this, and once we've done that, we can go underneath here. We can say board .turn O .cell on hover, and what we're going to do is we're basically just going to say the border color is equal to far gray. Hit save, and now when we hover over it, it's a bit broken. We need to fix that. Oh, I think we're doing it for the actual cell .o. Oh, sorry, I've realized we're missing. I was wondering what was going on there. After the hover, we actually need a before. So then we actually get this, which is still broken. And on top of doing the thing, we're going to add the nots in, and also we forgot to add in the pseudo element off before after our content here, and there you go, we get the O display, which also doesn't display there we go. Mess up there, accidentally forgot to add in the not and the before. It's very important apparently. So there we go, so we've got this, and now we can see, so that's actually all our styling done. The next thing we need to do, so let's just close that, we actually need to start hooking up our main.js. So in here, let's just remove these cells, let's remove that, let's remove that, and just have this plain one here. Now you can see it's not doing a hover effect because we don't have a starting class on our thing, so we're going to set that up in JavaScript now. So inside of JavaScript, we're actually going to start by saying const board L is equal to document.query selector, and what we're going to do is we're going to get the board element. So we're basically grabbing this element in HTML here. We're then going to say const cell else, which is just going to be our constant for our board cells. So that's going to get us all the cells inside of board here, so all of these. We're then, after this, going to say let current turn, and we're just going to set it to nothing. We're then going to have a setup function, not that one, setup function, which we're going to basically use to set up our whole board. So when we need to start or when we need to restart, we just call setup. It will erase everything on the board and it will start again. It will set up a random player and stuff like that. So let's start off by adding board L, or removing. What we're going to do is we're going to first off remove turn X or turn O. Now the reason we're going to start by removing it is because when we call this, when we need to restart, we're going to need to check if there's on there, and we're going to remove them. We're then going to say for let cell of cell else, so we're going to loop through all the elements in our cell else. We're then going to say cell.classlist.remove, and we're just going to check if they have an X or an O, and we're just going to remove them straight away. We're then going to say add event listener click, so when we click them, we're going to call a function called fill cell, and then we're going to pass some options into this, and we're going to just do it once. So what this means, this is options into our event listener. So an event listener can actually take options, and if you pass once is equal to true, you will basically say you can only click on fill or click this event listener once, which is basically going to prevent us from being able to click twice and overwrite them. Now, after the for loop, we're going to say current turn is now going to be equal to a math.round, math.random, and we're just going to say 0, 1. And we're going to just check if that is equal to 1, we're going to say it to X, else O. And then finally, we're going to say board L.classlist.add turn hyphen, and then we'll just go plus our current turn. So now what's happening here? So all we're doing here is we're saying we're getting our current turn variable. Sorry, we're going to say it to a math.round, which is going to basically check. So math.random is going to find a random integer between 0 and 1. If this returns above 0.5, it will then round it to 1 or 0. So if it's equal to 0, we're going to get an X, else we're going to get an O. So now if we refresh here and check we're actually script is hooked in, this is done, it's being called, current turn, and then we're getting the board L class list add turn plus current turn. So that should be good. Let's check if it's actually doing it. Oh, we've got an error. Fill cell. Oh, sorry, we need to actually create the function for fill cell, save, and now here you can see we have X. If we refresh, we have an X again. It's very biased. There we go. We got a O this time. Let's refresh. An X, refresh again, and an O. There you go. So you can see that's working nice. Let's close the terminal there for now. And now in fill cell, we're just going to say this dot classlist dot add, and we're just going to add the current turn. So let's hit refresh and look here. Now if we click X, 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 that's an issue. Now we need to actually swap the current turn after we've added it. So what we're going to do is down here, we're just going to say current turn dot class list dot remove turn X. Sorry, current turn is equal to current turn equal X, else O, else X. So if the current turn is already equal to X, then we're going to swap to O, else we're just going to go to X, meaning this is O. So let's refresh, and now if we X, You can see it's still showing there as an O, but when we click, it plays as an X, O, X, O, X, O, X, O. Now, the issue with this is we need to swap the board class. So we're going to copy this, and we're just going to put this here. But first, we're actually going to remove either turn O or turn X. So what we're doing here is now, once we refresh, now if we click, you can see we're now X, O, X, O, X, O, X, O. So you can see that's working fine now. So that's what we need to do inside of our fill cell. But now all we're doing is adding them. We're not actually checking if we're going to win. So that's what we need to do next. We actually need to do here, we need to say if check for win. And then we can do winner in here. But we need to create this function. So let's create a function called check for win. And now we actually need to come up with all these scenarios for a winner. Now to do that, we're going to go up to the top here and we're going to create a new constant. We'll do it before the current turn. And we'll just say constant combinations, which will be our winning combinations. And now there's going to be an array of arrays, so we can actually loop through all of the winning combinations and then loop through the actual combination to check if that cell has been filled. So all we're going to do is we're going to put the index in here. So we're actually going to pass through whatever the index of the cell is. So this will be 0. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You kind of get it, how arrays work. So in here, the combination, we're going to have 0, 1, 2. The next, so if you get a 1, 2, if you get a 0, oh, no, we're just constantly stuck here. Is there an error? Probably is. Yep, check for win is not defined. Didn't we create it? Check for win. Check for win. Oh, we didn't save there. Cool. So now you can see it XO, XO. But if we get 3 of the same X or O's across here, then that's a win. So also same with this. So it'll be 3, 4, 5. We could do 6, 7, 8 there. And now I'm actually just going to go through all of these really quickly. So we've got, that is one of our combinations. The next is the vertical, so going top down like that way. So that is going to be 0, 3, 6. The second one is going to be 1, 4, 7. Let me just, so that'll be 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, so that's that. Then we're going to have 2, 5, and 8. And now we just need 2 diagonals. So the other diagonal is going to be 0, 4, and 8. And finally, the last diagonal is going to be 2, 4, and 6. So as you can see here, this will be 0, 4, 8, and this one will be 2, 4, 6. Now there you go. Now we don't need to do like every single way, so you don't need to going this way and then going backwards, because we'll be able to run that check inside of our function. So that's all the winning combinations of tic-tac-toe, unless you create a bigger board. Let's say you create a bigger board, then you would have more here. But for now, that's our winning combination. So let's go down to our check for win state here, and all we're going to do is we're going to return a combinations dot sum. So we're going to loop through every single array in our, so we're going to loop through this array to get the arrays in there of our combinations. So we're going to get sum, which is going to be equal to combination, and we're going to set that equal to an arrow function that then goes return combination dot every, and we're just going to say C. And all we're going to do here is we're going to say if cells else C, which will be this will return one of these elements. So if every single one of these has a class that contains the current turn's winner, we're then going to say return true. Else, or what we don't need to do is we could just say return false. And that's all there is to the check for win. So all we need to do is we're going to loop through our array, looking for any one of them that returns true. in here. So any one of these which returns true. And basically we're going to then loop through each individual combination to check if the cell is equal to the, or all three cells have a current turn class on them. So they all have an X. So this one, let's say this one, and this one all add O's on them. I know that's an X, but imagine it was an O. That means this is checked that class is on there and it's going to return true, else it's going to return false. So in here we could just say alert. And actually, we're going to do something different. We're going to say const restart is equal to confirm current turn dot to uppercase, just so it looks nice. We're then going to add in is the winner restart question mark, and then we're just going to say if restart. We're just going to call the setup function again. So now, if we click here, we go X, O, X, O, X. You can see X is the winner, restart, okay, and it refreshes the board for us. So let's do O now. So we go X, O, X, O, X, O. O is the winner and restart. But what happens if we fill up the whole board with no winner? Nothing happens. So we now need to do a else if check for draw. So we're going to check for a draw. And how we're going to do that is, let's scroll down here. Let's go function, check for draw. And we're going to return the cells else. And now we need to turn this into a, we need to actually destructure this array. So we've got to break it down because basically cell else node lists don't actually have a command for every. So we actually need to break it down to actually check this. So now we're going to go in here. I'm just going to say if c, let's break this down, c.ClassList.contains x or c.ClassList.contains o. So if every single one of these contains either or this, so every single cell in the whole cell or in every single array, we're just going to basically, so if all of these are filled, basically with classes, we're then just going to return true. Else, we're just going to return false. And there you go. So now in here where we've got check for draw, we could actually copy this same command here, paste it in there. But instead of writing this, we can just remove this and say, it's a draw. Restart question mark. And there you go. And then just to clean things up, we can take this and we can say else. If none of these are true, we're going to actually start the redoing this. So let's refresh and let's try and get the whole board filled up. And there you go. It's a draw. Restart. Okay, it restarts. Let's try and win now. You can see O is the winner, so we can check this. Now let's do this again. Let's see if we get X to win. X is the winner, and we can try, let's try do a diagonal here. And you can see we get O is the winner. Now let's try and, oh, that's enough for O. Let's try an X diagonal. Bam, X is the winner. Let's try vertical. Actually, I think I've done vertical. Let's try a long one now. Bam, X is the winner. And as you can see, all combinations will work. So you can just keep going through them and trying them all, and you'll see every single combination of getting 3 in a row will work. So guys, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, it really does help. We've just hit 22,500 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you all who have tuned in. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future, other JavaScript games, other JavaScript challenges, anything like that. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. I have a Discord server. It's mainly for game development, but we also do a lot of web development in there as well, which is there to help. So please feel free to hop in a Discord server. The link should be in the description. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.